Just a second, ma'am. Manish? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to yet another webinar in My Mission Admission. Today, we're going to talk about the ancient science and the education system, the modern science and the education system, their comparison, relation, and effect on brain functioning and child development. We're all students over here, and our brains are very tender at the moment, and this is the time we have to make a very important career choice. So let's see how this topic can help us in making this very important decision of our lives. The reason we've chosen this topic is because this will act as a backbone and give you the fundamental base of the series of the webinar topics that we'll be discussing in the next 3 months. And before we can touch the topic on how to develop the memory and concentration power, how to boost your immunity power, resistance power, and strengthen your vital force, it's very important to understand the knowledge base from where we have chosen this topic. Receiving something very powerful and useful, but due to the lack of awareness, you may not pay that much attention and decide whether it's good or bad for you. So today, to introduce this topic, we're having with us a very eminent speaker, Ms. Sakshi Bhardwaj from Adyaparam Yogpeeth. She's a manager and project head over there. She's a visionary, a mission-oriented leader, and very experienced in diverse industry fields. She has experience in project management and a lot of insightful knowledge in integrating leadership skills in the way which is consistent with the organization's mission statements. She's very well versed in developing deep understanding of the vision and mission and the strategy of the organization, gathering views from the data, from managing, directing teams, project teams, planning authorities, and other bodies, and structuring cohesive strategy and risk assessment matrices. In her span of nearly 17 years of work experience, she is adept and skilled in overseeing administrative responsibilities required for department heads and organizations to ensure strong collaborative relationship with the groups and externally with key agencies and client partners to consistently elevate the quality of thinking and ideas applied to the client business. We welcome you, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Good morning, everybody.
So, ma'am, just before we begin this topic, could you please give us in a gist what is going to be the flow of discussion for today?
Thank you for introducing me and bringing me on this face-to-face interaction with the students.
You're welcome, ma'am.
What our discussion is going to be about is going to basically revolve around concepts that we hold in our minds when it comes to a few words. When we understand the word ancient, what is the conceptual understanding? When we look at the word science, and then when we look at the word education, what are our concepts that are formed inside us, each individual? Teachers, students, parents, principals, each one of them, and our understanding of how those three concepts are interrelated. We can only understand of how those concepts are interrelated today because we're living today. I can't suddenly leave my body and be born 200 years ago or 5,000 years ago to understand how it was back then. Yet, we believe that there are many, many techniques and many, many tools by which you will really be able to fathom how things were back then. Those techniques we have evolved today. That is the only reason, or that is the only way we have come up with this idea of correlating these three words: ancient science, modern education system, ancient education system, brain functioning, child development, correlating everything, and we will be helping students understand the concepts as such and not necessarily stick onto a particular idea or a particular ideology that exists today, but understanding from a larger perspective and keeping an open mind, which will therefore help them in moving forward in their life, whether it is going forward in their careers or whether it is helping them move forward in their studies or with the relationships with their families in every way, in totality. So we are just going to be covering this as a concept because our next series of webinars will really talk to them about how they can develop themselves for their futures as professional and personal lives as well.
Wonderful. Ma'am, also you're associated with this organization Adya Param Yog Peeth, which has been really phenomenal in their work of research in the ancient sciences and modern science. So could you please tell us something about what your organization does and how it can benefit the students with the various programs that they're running?
Okay, well, I have known this organization for the last 5 years, and I have been extremely actively involved for the last 1 year. In my brief span of being involved in 1 year, what I have observed is, first of all, their work is about imparting that knowledge and imparting that knowledge in a scientific manner, because there is a great amount of knowledge that exists today, and each one is free to receive knowledge from wherever they feel comfortable from. We believe that we would like to impart a practical knowledge which students and individuals will be able to apply in small daily moments or small things in their lives, and not look after, the bigger things will automatically look after themselves when you cater to small things. So we believe in not giving them theory, understanding the theory and then applying it. We throw them in the pool and we watch them as they try to swim and they are struggling. And then out of their experience, we will tell them the theory behind that. So their experiences and learning is much deeper, because when I'm sure, I don't know if the students will be able to relate to my example, but a lot of teachers would be able to relate to it, that they will remember cycling even if they haven't cycled for years. They will remember how to skate even if they haven't skated for years. Even their driving skills may be rusty, but they'll remember how to drive. But we don't remember what was our trigonometry question number 3 in 10th board maths paper. Because that is theory, right? And we have not taken that theory and applied it in our lives. We don't understand trigonometry in daily life. We understand what we learn from our experiences, and students will also learn from the experiences. Therefore, our concept of teaching is from an experiential learning. And we have different types of programs, whether it's for corporates or teachers or the education system, or we have for students and we have for researchers. So we have a very different concept altogether, and most of it comes from our research, which is primary. So each of our researchers is diving into their own experience and coming out from there, and our observance of each other's growth and each other's experiences and what happens where, what happens here, what happens there. So we document everything. The students' experience are also documented, and it helps us develop many more programs and different types of projects that we take up in villages as well.
Okay. Wonderful, ma'am. So as you just highlighted towards your research that you're doing, and you've done a lot of work on the concept of ancient science and modern science and the evolution of the education system. Could you please explain to us the transition or the evolution from the ancient science to the modern science as we see it today?
First of all is understanding the concept of, like I said, it is understanding at a concept level and understanding it from a broader view. I'm not going too deep into it right now. That will probably come at a later stage.
Okay.
But overall, if we just observe, if we look at it from an observance point of view, to stand and just observe things, how our ancestors lived, or how our predecessors used to live. They were living in much more knowledge than what we live today. Their knowledge was applicable in their lives. Their lives, the way their life used to function, we could see it. They used to respect nature. They used to respect each other. There was much more positive growth, affection, and people lived much longer and healthier. I'm sure a lot of students would agree that, their grandfather, is probably more disciplined about his life, or their great grandfathers are more disciplined about their lives. They'll wake up at 4 or 4:30 in the morning, or, they'll sleep on time, they'll eat on time, they have a fixed routine of how they follow. We look at it, Yeah,
I don't know about the students, but I would definitely agree to this.
my grandparents are still like that, and sometimes we feel, they're so old fashioned, they're not modern, and they're not like this and they're not like that. They prefer wearing kurta pajama, and we would rather see them in jeans and t-shirt. But as students, I believe that if we understand their concepts and not judge them, seeing it from an open mind and trying to understand, what is it that makes them like that? Why is it that they are like that? It's not like they're living in the modern world. They don't get tempted to, change their ways of being. But those habits have been taught to them, and they were living much more disciplined. So much so that how your grandparents were at the age of 40 or 30 were much healthier than how your parents were when you were 30. And we are definitely much unhealthier than how our parents were. So we are seeing physical health just, not going higher, but also coming down slowly. Children are much more prone to illnesses today than what they were in the past. Depression at 20s was never heard of. That, I'm depressed, or clinical depression, like serious cases, were never heard of when I was in my 20s. And similarly, many students at my school did not have spectacles. Today, children 6 years old are wearing spectacles. So where is that inner strength gone? And that is practical. It's not something that you read in a book. And those are the kind of concepts that are missing today. Such kind of knowledge has not happened today because of the growing industrialization and because of a general thought that has defied the constructive thought. People are becoming much more destructive in their thought. A lot of the influence comes from the media. A lot of the influence comes from newspapers. A lot of the influence comes from our technology that has grown. So although technology has helped connect the world and brought a lot of positive growth, but it is also affecting our children. And as much as students are using Facebook today, or school children are carrying cell phones when they're going to tuition centers, we never had those concepts. We used to play in the park all the time. We used to run around. We used to graze our knees and fall down and play with everybody. We used to play in the park. People don't play in the park anymore, and children are much more busy on the computer doing tick 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 tick, playing a game. So the evolution or the evolvement of children is not very healthy mentally, physically, psychologically as well. And somewhere, even in the broader framework, there are missing links that we believe we will be able to address and educate. We may not be able to fix them entirely because it's a big thing, it's a big change. Yet we do our bit by educating people, by helping them understand the concept of what is ancient science or what is ancient wisdom. And if you understand it as a concept, then yes, you will be able to take some things from that and take it into your modern world. You don't suddenly have to leave everything and live in a jhoppadpatti. But you would be able to take these concepts and live in your cities and live with all the technology, but being aware of the choices that you're making and not getting carried away. Making the right choices, being aware, and being in control of yourself for a positive development inside yourself.
Great, great. So, ma'am, there has been a what I could get from your thoughts is that ancient science was ancient people, or rather, I would say, were more healthier in their lifestyles, and that's how their brain function. And the modern people, because of the impact of technology and all those factors, are their brain functioning has had an impact. So the question that I'm trying to put here is ancient science and modern science. Although we can have some references where we can find some commonalities also. However, we may find some references where they are very different. So, what is your perception? Are they related, or are they mutually exclusive, or there could be another term whether they should be balanced in the modern life, or how does it work?
That's a very good question. What I believe is I will start actually by sharing something in that I found. These were, I was doing a guest lecture in one of the universities where we were talking about ancient science and child development, and I came across this very interesting research paper that were written by aeronautical PhD students in Bangalore.
Okay.
What they had done is they had written about the technology that is used in NASA.
Okay.
All the students have heard about NASA in America. It is
I'm
the
sure most of them have.
yeah, it is known as the number one space research
Yes.
institute, and they wanted to understand what is the kind of technology that they used in NASA, and they dived into our ancient scriptures. What they found is that there is a 7,000-year-old manuscript.
Okay.
It is called the Viman Shastra.
Viman Shastra, and it ages back 7,000 years.
7,000 years. It's Viman Shastra, and
Okay.
in the Viman Shastra, it's a huge, thick volume, and they just found references on Google because this research paper is 7-8 years ago, not very long ago.
All right.
They did a comparative analysis on what was written in the Viman Shastra and the technology that is used in NASA today. So what I found from that research paper were very, very interesting ideas. What I found was that the 7,000-year-old scripture book had detailed description about 8 different types of Vimans, 8 different types of aircrafts.
Oh.
And spacecrafts. There are 8 different categories. Each of those categories have subcategories, and each of those subcategories have clear dimensions, clear designs, diagrams, what kind of fuel it is going to be, where the person is going to sit, everything. I would probably share, if you allow me, I will share some photographs from that book. I'm sure the students will be able to see.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
This is a Tripura Viman. Okay, of course, I know the name is in Hindi, but just have a look at it. Look how detailed it is designed. They have marked every single thing, the dimensions, the design, the structure, and probably this looks like a submarine.
Ma'am, we are able to see a person also sitting over it. It's like a plane, something going.
It's like a plane, or you could say it's like a submarine also as well.
All right.
It's like it is a plane, but it's like a huge aerodrome, like how the old planes used to look like.
Yes.
And then you look to your right bottom, the Rukma Viman.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen space shuttles? They look like this when they land back on Earth. When the rocket leaves from Earth, it looks like a long rocket, but when the space shuttle comes back, this is what it looks like. This is exactly what the space shuttle looks like. And students are free to Google about this. This is all available on Google. Of course, there is a lot of not very nice things on Google, but some good things are also available. This is the Tripura Viman, this is the Rukma Viman. I'll move to the next slide. I don't know if the students know this particular character, but probably they are able to figure it out. It's, you could say it is captured from mythology. This is Ravan.
All right.
This is Ravan, and what he is sitting in was his Pushpak Viman. It's shaped like a bird. And can you see my arrow moving, Alnu?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
At the bottom, you will be able to see these flares that, you know, are like space, like jets.
Yes, just below the wings.
Yes, just below the wings, there are these green jets that are coming, and then you see this jet which is fueling behind as well.
Yeah.
But when you look at this entire thing, you don't know what is fueling it. Where are they storing the petrol? Where are they storing the diesel? There's nothing here. We believe this is mythology.
Okay.
We believe that, you know, these are stories. We never believe these things as real. Yet this is actually quite real. There are, if you watch the Discovery Channel or you watch National Geographic, students will be able to see that the things that are being found from excavation sites are proving that these things used to exist. At the bottom is a gentleman. He looks like a Panditji. But he is actually a Sanskrit scholar, was a Sanskrit scholar. His name is Mr. Balaji Talpade. He is from Mumbai.
Okay.
And he read the Viman Shastra. When he read the Viman Shastra, what he realized was that if these dimensions and these things are available today, if it is scientific, it should be proven even today. We should be able to prove it. So what he did was he read this about one Shastra, about one Viman, sorry, and he actually constructed an aircraft. And that craft did not have any person sitting in it.
Okay.
It was not controlled by any remote control. Yet it flew for 20 minutes in air. And then it ran out of fuel and it fell down.
Okay. Was it a crash landing?
Maybe. But that particular incident was it, and this particular mention of Mr. Balaji Talpade is also available in the PhD paper of the aeronautical students that I'm talking about.
Okay.
And what they did was that they have analyzed the technology that he used. It is ionic plasma 2, I believe so. If the students like, I can find the reference of the article and we can share it at a later stage. I don't have it immediately with me. I can share it with the school at a later stage, and students can dive into it. That he actually made that aircraft fly, and that was witnessed by a lot of Britishers and were witnessed by a lot of newspaper people as well, and they all covered it. That is a proof that we have. We know what has existed in the past based on the textbooks that we have. Yet, his technology never took off. Because that PhD paper that I'm talking about, they say that, they actually killed Balaji Talpade, they killed his wife and they killed his partner with whom he was going to set forth this idea. So this knowledge was available in India, and actually, frankly, not just is still available in India.
Okay.
And I feel that there is a great deal of knowledge that exists even today, except those keepers are knowledge of very few, and it's very hard to find such keepers of knowledge. So there are two ways: either you can just be alert and awake and just try different things, or just wait till that moment comes to you. And I was one of those people when I was searching for something like this at my life, and when I found this, I knew that this is something very different. So innately it felt right, and that is why we are here. So although modern science has taken a lot of aspects from the ancient science, yet modern science they are not mutually exclusive. They do have a relation in between. Ancient science or ancient education system, if I were to talk about, not necessarily science, but if I talk about the ancient education system, the system used to give two kinds of knowledge. One kind of knowledge was the knowledge of the world, where they used to cover subjects of mathematics, physics, Sanskrit, understanding of geography or history. They used to cover that. And also there was a very strong element of the understanding of themselves, who they are, which was real. And when you truly understand who you are, then you are able to see, okay, this is who I am, this is my thought, this is my unique approach, this is the field where I want to excel in, and therefore you pick your subjects, you pick your career based on that. Today, we lack that knowledge of the self, and therefore the outside circumstances, whether it is co-curricular activities or in any way. If I look back at my life, I'm taking examples from my own life as well. My school age was many, many years ago. And at that time, I felt that I was doing a lot of activities in school. And it was in the hope that I will be able to find myself in some of those activities. That I will be able to feel, okay, this is who I am when I do this activity, whether it is painting, singing, sculpting, PT, sports, anything, any subject or something like that. But external influences or external things were helping me understand who I was.
Okay.
Today, I understand who I am, and therefore I am doing what I want to do. So my determination is much higher, my focus is automatic, my memory will also get much, much better because my interest is there. Today, students are not clear of where their interest lies. And they may be interested in, let's say, 5 things simultaneously, but which one of those 5 things will they really be good at? That is the kind of thing that is missing today. So the modern education system is definitely giving them a lot of knowledge, whether it is in management or whether it is in skill sets. But the real understanding of the self is somewhere just being ingrained as an activity, but it's not part of the system per se on a larger level. And we feel that if one were to analyze how the Gurukuls were run, or understand the concept behind the Gurukul, or understand the concept behind career orientation, or understand the concept behind yoga, I will not say yoga, but understand those concepts at a deeper level and interrelate them with everything in their lives, then success will automatically find you.
All right. So, ma'am, based on this, the next area where we're moving is you highlighted about modern education system rather than the concept of science. And how has the modern education system evolved? We were again using the term modern education system, right? So there was one earlier education system which you really mentioned about the Gurukul system. So
Yes.
how has that evolution taken place, and how has it impacted the functioning of the human brain and moreover the child development per se towards their career orientations?
Um, I'll say two, three things here. First of
Okay.
all, I believe that ancient science was a concept that was prevalent in the education system as well. The education system was very scientific. The entire system back then in the Gurukul was very, very scientific. And the gurus or the acharyas, if I had to use Sanskrit words and not refer to any person or any cliched image as such, but they used to be called gurus or they were called acharyas. It's just a word, like how we call them teachers and ma'ams and sirs today. So back then, the gurus and the acharyas were exemplifying the knowledge through their being, through their actions, through their words, through their behavior. And today we believe that the teachers are not some teachers are not being able to understand that depth of or their role as a teacher as such. Although I am nothing against teachers, I myself have taught in many schools, so teachers, please don't feel
There are a
bad.
lot of teachers watching this webinar, by the way.
But I would urge the teachers to look at how the teachers play a very critical role in shaping the students' future, and not completely look at just educating them about their subject that they are teaching, but also helping the students understand who they are and how they will be able to shape their future from inside themselves. That thing is missing in the larger framework. So it is not anybody's fault. It is just a framework that has developed over many years, and much of it is due to the British invasion that happened.
Okay.
We brought in the concept of PT. We stopped doing yoga. Okay, they brought in the concept of speaking in English. Even though India has so many languages, English is like spoken everywhere. Hindi is not spoken, but English is spoken. So these are things that we have also observed, and I'm not judging anybody. But we believe that when I look at it, I smile and I wonder, that where are we going and what are we doing and how we can. Is there a way to fix it? Or is there something that we can do about it? Or is there somewhere where we can become much better and we can become much more positive and much more holistic as such? So the ancient education system, which was in the, it slowly kind of disintegrated because of the many years of the British Raj. It did not happen overnight. And they have seeped into our thoughts and our basic belief in the education system and our culture as such. And it is still going to take some time for it to completely move away, because the West wants to come to India for the knowledge and to learn pranayam and meditation and yoga, etc., do Ayurveda, and we want to become more Western. So it is just a culture right now, which we believe is going to take a really long time, or for people to first accept and then see about what they would like to do about it. And each one is free. It's a free country. No one can force anyone ki nahi karna hi hai aise. So everyone is free to do as per their wish, and each one's belief at this point of time is right. Depending on how you evolve as a human being, you will also understand the concepts later in time.
So, ma'am,
The modern education system, we believe, is not completely scientific, because the modern education system has a fragmented approach.
Okay.
I will say to you, okay, I don't know which class students are we speaking with, but what standard are these?
12th standard.
12th standard, brilliant. So when you were in 10th standard, when you used to when you used to have science, or let's say even before that, when you were in 6th standard, when you did science, science was science. Social studies was social studies as a subject. And then later, when it became history, civics, and geography, and then when it became physics, chemistry, and biology, there was no interrelation between the three.
Yeah.
The concept of physics, can it exist in chemistry?
It can very well, but that's what we realize when we move further in our education. That's when we
Yes,
enter into
but students
class
don't
11,
realize
12.
it at this stage, because they are just absorbing what they are receiving from the teachers, and therefore that is the lapse in the system. We are not able to understand that, okay, if I understand the concept of the speed of light, I can think about the same kind of concept when I do a chemical reaction, or the way the human body functions. How is the speed of light working in the human body? How is the focal point working in the human body? Does it necessarily have to do with my eyes, or can it work into different parts of the body? Understanding the biology or the human mechanism, understanding the nature's mechanisms, so forth. So I'm just looking at the concept of science, and it agrees everywhere. We have a very fragmented approach, and then when we grow up, we also become fragments. This is my role as a mother, this is my role as a sister, this is my role as a housewife, this is my role as a professor, this is my role as a son, this is my role as a something. And then ek time aata hai when you're just like, I'm doing everything, but where am I? And what is happening to me? And I'm not feeling good, and I'm not feeling happy. Because of when we are growing up, science says that your brain is developing till the time you're 18 years of age. Yet we believe that your brain can still develop, because if the education system was completely holistic, so to speak, and I'm using quote unquote because it is said holistic development, why is it that research says you're only using 8 to 9% of your brain capacity? There is something missing. If it was completely holistic, you would be maximizing your brain potential, you would be understanding many more things, you would be coming up with radical research. That is missing. So we need to just have an objective view, keeping our emotions and our personal feelings aside, but looking at the facts that exist today. If it is completely holistic, we would be using 80%, 85%. We would find many more people and thinkers like Swami Vivekananda. We would find many thinkers like Chanakya. We would find many thinkers like Aryabhat. They are not there today. Or even Einstein. Einstein used 10% of his brain capacity. Why not go beyond that? And therefore, the brain development as such, today we understand brain development from the modern scientific instruments that are created and available in hospitals. You go for an EEG test, or you go for something, and you understand what is my brainwave frequency.
Yeah.
And the brainwave frequency, as per psychologists, are categorized under 4: alpha, beta, delta, theta. And each of them have a range from 0 to this much, from this much to this much, from this much to this much, and this much to this much. It caps at 35 hertz or 40 hertz. Some researchers say 35 hertz, some researchers say 40 hertz, but there is no brain frequency beyond 40 hertz. My question is there something that is there beyond 40 hertz? Yes, there is. Clinical psychology says that when your brainwave frequency goes beyond 40 hertz, you become clinically mad.
Okay.
You're psychologically disturbed if your brainwave goes beyond 40 hertz. Have you seen mad people? They just do anything out of the blue anywhere. They'll start laughing, they'll start crying, they'll start doing anything. Lekin, their brainwave frequency when increases goes in the destructive path. If you take 40 hertz and take it into the constructive path, you develop gamma brainwave frequencies. The programs that we conduct for students, we have actually revived. We have not developed something new. We have actually revived some techniques, some tools, some tips, some things that stay with you, wherein your inner energy levels rise. Your brainwave frequencies go in a certain way. If there was time, or if I ever get to interact with these 12th standard students, I'll share with them my life journey. I am a very average student, and I have never thought about hour of research. Never. but been a very curious mind as such. I was a state level player in basketball and I was very curious about everything. I would question everything. Why? What? How? But why? But why? And nowhere I got answers. Here, I don't need to look for answers. The process that I do gives me my answers, which are truth. And I imbibe them and not only feel much stronger as a character, it is character building for myself, but also gives me great clarity of mind. Therefore, when I have clarity of mind, I know what I want and I just go after it. Then you become like this, like a horse. You don't look right, you don't look left, you just go. And we also believe that students at this point, at 12th standard, it's a critical juncture. Everyone's asking you, beta, आगे जाके तुम क्या करोगे? Career में तुमने क्या सोचा है? And some students may be saying, I'm going to do this, but inside they may be confused. So that clarity of mind will come when your understanding of the self gets better and deeper. And it also accelerates your thinking power, your concentration power, your memory power. And we will cover those topics in our next series of webinars. But today I wanted to touch on the topic and the concepts of science and ancient science, modern education, ancient education system, so that हम इसको एक I don't know if Hindi is okay, but I sometimes would speak in Hindi. I don't know कि सब लोग इसको एक बहुत open minded चीज से उसको देखें without judgment. इसको बिना जज किए इसको समझने का कोशिश करें. नहीं तो फिर अगर आप जजमेंट कर लोगे तो फिर जो सोच बड़ी हो सकती है उस पे फिर छत लग जाती है and it doesn't go beyond that. You will not be able to have unlimited thinking power.
All right. Ma'am, so now after understanding the development of the human brain, how it has taken place, and so by understanding all these concepts that you've just explained to us, how can this help us broaden our spectrum and make a good career orientation? That's what I would want to take this topic, a good career orientation for the students.
See, there are many different schools of thought that exist, and each one is free to, go and try out wherever they feel comfortable with. However, I would like to say what we are doing. What we basically do is we conduct different types of sessions.
Okay.
Each of those sessions gives a very specific individual experience to each student. I'm talking to students, I will speak with students. And when that kind of process or that kind of technique gives you a glimpse of, okay, this is the possibility that exists in the 4 sessions, okay, 2 घंटे में तुम आओ, तुमको ये experience होता है, तुम ये achieve कर सकते हो, then it becomes self-effort. Today, knowledge actually is not very existing in society because many people are not willing to put in that hard an effort. सब लोगों को चाहिए कि हम shortcut, quick, फटाफट करें, फटाफट रट्टा मार के मैं पास हो जाऊं पेपर में. तो स्टूडेंट्स भी बहुत कम स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं जो रोज पढ़ाई करते हैं. बहुत कम स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं एग्जाम से 2 महीना पहले उनकी किताबें खुलेंगी, like right now their pre-boards are coming or their boards are coming, they are stressed out. But when school opened in July and August, they were very relaxed. We also did that. And it's not something because the environment doesn't support you. The environment that we lived in today doesn't support you. Our friends, peer pressure एक अलग चीज है. अगर मैं सोचूंगी मेरे को एकदम होलिस्टिक तरीके से जीना है, मैं सेल फोन नहीं रखूंगा, my parents are going to get so worried if I go to the tuition center. So there are a lot of these concepts that are there in the students' mind. I can understand. लेकिन इन सब चीजों के बावजूद, इन सब चीजों के होते हुए भी, you for yourself can adopt and learn some techniques which will, even if you are there, you will be untouched. You will be like the lotus. You will be growing in mud, but none of the mud is going to mar you. And it actually does happen. It's not, I'm not talking out of the top of my head or some figment of imagination. I am living it. And I believe that if an average student like me can do it, anybody can do it. It's not hard. You just need to know that, okay, anything can change in my life, but this one thing I'm going to hold on to. So that it requires some self-discipline, it requires some self-talk. And when students undergo some of these processes, and we can conduct some processes for them, or we can visit their school and we can perhaps take an orientation program and give them much more knowledge and information about this. तभी उनको समझ में आएगा, because right now it's just words. Like I said, it's just theory. When you go through their experience, then you will understand much better.
Ma'am, we're having certain questions from the audience that we're having right now. Quickly, we'll move on to that. There's a question by Parul that how ancient system can contribute to our education system and how we can, in our daily lives, benefit out of it.
Okay, thank you, Parul. That's a very good question. And how can you repeat the question one more time? How can ancient education system contribute?
How ancient science can contribute to our modern education system, and how we can utilize it in our daily lives?
First of all, I think it requires a change at the top. Like I said, it is a concept that has penetrated into India's society and cities and metropolitan cities. So it has penetrated the PhDs, the researchers, the scholars, the professors, the teaching institutes. So it has spread. It's like you think of it like a glass of water and you put just one drop of red paint. It will spread all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
When it is totally colored, how much more water do you think you need to put it in to make it white again? It's like that. And there are schools of thought that are understanding this idea. There are schools, actual schools, who understand the need for cultural education as such and the depth of it. And they are making efforts. Yet, when it comes to survival, it is tougher. Because when you are doing something which is really good and something which is really interesting, the audience doesn't support you. I'll take an example of from the entertainment industry. You must have all heard of Yo-Yo Honey Singh.
Yes.
I saw an interview of his and he was asked, why are your songs so provocative? Why are your songs like this? Why are they talking of girls and they're talking of short dresses and blue eyes and yay and oh and falan. What he said was that my first album was on Bhagat Singh.
Okay.
He said the first album that I cut was on Bhagat Singh. He said I'm a Sardar, I'm from Punjab. And he made a lot of sense when he said that. He said, I have my relatives who come from the village and they say, we want to go to Canada. We want to just run to Canada and we don't want anything to do with development or to give back to our village, etc. We just want to go to Canada and earn lots of money like a lala. And he said, when I talk to my cousins or when I tell them that, do you know about your own culture? Do you know about your own tradition? Where you come from? What are your roots? And they had no idea. And he said, as an entertainer, I tried to educate people and make a change. He said, I can't do that. He also tried. And there are many other people who also try. We are also who are trying. So it is trying to change a very big thing in the entire system as such. And the modern education system can take a lot from ancient science. But there are a lot of questions in that. First of all, who is authentic? Who is teaching you those ancient science concepts? Yet understanding that. Then understanding if those authentic techniques will work in today's modern setting. You take something very ancient, it may seem like, एक बहुत पुरानी, एक जैसे 50 साल पुरानी मैंने फिएट की गाड़ी खरीदी थी, वो पड़े उसको जंग लग रहा है और आज मैं उसको एक रोल्स रॉयस के साथ रेस लगा रहा हूँ, फेरारी के साथ में. ठीक है? I hope the students will be able to relate to my examples because I'm using things that they'll be able to connect with. But yes, you can. As a system, I don't know. As an individual, you definitely can. And we can help you and we would be very happy to come and share the knowledge that we have or come and share with the students and let them grow and equip themselves as an individual. Because there are times when you can't change the world, you can only change yourself. So yes, Parul, you are most welcome to talk to your teachers and principal and see if something can be done about this.
Great. Ma'am, there's another question that we're receiving. You mentioned about skills and identifying your skills before we make a career choice. Are there any techniques that would help
Hello.
me identify those? Uh, any problem, ma'am?
Repeat your question. There's some connectivity concern.
Okay. Ma'am, the question was that are there any techniques that would help me identify my skills so that I can pursue a career in that particular field?
Before you understand what are your skills, you need to understand what you are good at as an interest, as a talent, not necessarily a skill. See, I'll tell you, different words have different meanings for people. You may be
Yeah.
understanding skill at a deeper level. I may be understanding skill at a surface level. So, what I would urge the person who is asked this question is for you to first dive into who you are and then see where your interest lies, where your innate talent lies. What is your innate quality of who you are? What is the quality that you are imbibing as an individual? And therefore, that particular quality will fit into which career, which skill, which talent, which field. That understanding can happen from two levels. One level of understanding is from your own self. The second level of understanding is from somebody who is at a slightly higher pedestal. And I'm not saying in terms of position, but understanding the knowledge. So if I can help you, I would be more than happy to help you.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am. In the end, any certain remarks or how the students can reach out to you, and then in case they really have certain doubts about what we have spoken over here, what we've discussed, and if they want to explore further, how they can reach out to you and how you can really be able to help them.
Well, I don't know if we have much time right now. Do we have enough time?
Ma'am, actually, we're on the peak of it.
Okay, we have a short time. Then I'll just take a minute and quickly tell the students. If you are keen to connect with us and get in touch with us, then you have three, four mediums that you can connect with. One medium is that you can come directly to our center. This is our center in Janakpuri. One option is that. Second option is that you could even opt for personal counseling with us.
Okay.
You could either come to our center and you could take an appointment and we can give you a counseling session, and or alternatively you could use the platform of and book a counseling session with us. And we would also be happy if you are not able to come here, we can do it virtually like how we are doing it right now. We can also give you individual counseling and perhaps collective counseling. We are also open to the teachers coming forward if any of them feel that they would like to contribute to our research or take from our research. We would be more than happy to connect with teachers and school principals as well. So we welcome you all. It would be great fun.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Sakshi ma'am, for sharing so much of your research work and so much of your insights with us. I'm sure the students have gained a lot of knowledge from this, and they'll be able to apply this in their career choices, which are very important at the moment. And I'm sure they'll be back to you for certain more clarities. Thank you so much, Sakshi ma'am, once again. And thanks again to all the students who took time and viewed our webinar. I hope you'll be able to benefit out of this in making the correct career choices. If you require any further assistance, you can contact the mentor as well as us through our portal. Stay tuned for further webinars on My Mission Admission. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you.